That's unanimous. Item 2, financial planning. Ms. Nowlin.
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
So you can see in the packet, there are year-end budget amendments in your packet. They are all there. There would probably be one more special revenue that we're kind of cleaning up for the actual board meeting. So I didn't include that in here. There's not really a whole lot of big things in here other than child nutrition. You will see that we did appropriate some fund balance there to balance the budget, and that fund balance is basically from our spend down program, our spend down plan. So that was all planned for. The other area where we appropriated fund balance was in local. That one, we have been talking about this for many months, about the increases on local with EC and other local expenses because of not having a state budget. We appropriated originally $3.6 million in the beginning of the year for the fund balance. So we knew that that was what we were going to plan to spend out of fund balance. We ended up having to appropriate another 1.7. So we're up to 5.3 million in local. We don't anticipate spending all of that. I think right now we have a remaining $1 million surplus in budget in local, but that's just to protect, because then you have those expenses that come in at last minute, which we call accounts payable expenses, where we didn't get the invoice until July, but it was for a June expense. So it's really just a budgeting game to make sure that we have enough money budgeted in our budget to avoid any problems with audit findings. So I think it's going to end up being around 700,000 extra, and not the 1.7, but just to let you know. So if anybody wants to know why we asked for the additional $4 million, because we're appropriating this 5, you can see that it's already kind of on that trajectory. And we could not sustain that path of spending out of fund balance, because that is our savings. And our payroll is about $9 million. If you want to know, our payroll each month is about $9 million. So that's what kind of, the state does not have a mandatory fund balance for us. They do for the county, but we try to make sure that we use that $9 million figure to kind of keep us in the ballpark. And truth be told, again, as our auditors have told you many times, we're in better shape than most of the state. Most of the state does not have any fund balance, and they're having to ask for additional money from commissioners. So those are pretty much the end results of year end. And so by the time we have our final meeting, I'll have special revenue budget amendments and also our closeout reports, so that I can show you exactly where the dollars were spent in each program and then each purpose code. Any questions?
Okay, so we should not have to go to the commissioners for any more money, correct? I said should, not will
yes.
not.
I am, yes, I think with the additional $4 million
Good.
that we asked for and they gave us, we are going to be making the necessary adjustments do it, but we still need it, you're still gonna have some, I think Dr. Breland is gonna have some further discussion with you all on what the ramifications of the state budget did do to us. So it's good and bad, right? We've been saying, okay, it's bad we haven't had a state budget because we haven't been getting the money for benefits. But the state budget they passed a state budget where we have the lower end, the beginning teachers are getting a 17% increase.
And salary.
In salary. So for us, we only have a certain number of those in our budget, which is about 40-some teachers in our local budget. But they're always the lower paid teachers. So we averaged an 8%. So you see there's a difference in 8 and 17. So it's going to hit, that hits directly in local. We're gonna have that hit also in federal because the lower paid people in Title I are always given to Title I so we can maximize every dollar that we can get in Title I. So it's gonna make those budgets shrink. So, and then there's a bonus that they have decided on in the state budget for all employees. And so that, but they're only gonna cover state employees, right? So we have a lot more employees other than state. So the district has to come up with the additional funds to pay the bonus for all of our federal and local budgets and our grant funded. So you have like our nurses that are nurse initiative that's in Fund 8, pre-K, Head Start, all of those people are still gonna be required loosely, some districts are not giving it to anybody but state paid. Can you imagine that? I mean, they're having to say, okay, you can have two people in the same job and one get the bonus and one not because you're state paid and you're locally paid and the local doesn't have the money to pay you for that. So those are some other things. So, I mean, and Dr. Breedlove will talk to you more in depth about what our plan is moving forward. But yes, our hopes are that we have made a plan for that $4 million to be enough with some adjustments based on the budget.
To answer your
Thank you.
question, Ms. Burns, yes, that is our goal, is to not have to go to ask for any additional funds. We will find a way within our own budget, okay?
And I have all assurances that, from previous experience, that you guys do the most with the money that you possibly can, and I have no doubts about that. I just, like I said, considering community involvement and everything that was involved in our last trip over to the county commissioners to ask for money for the budget, I think it's gonna give everybody just a sigh of relief that, okay, we're in good enough shape now that we don't have to go back, where there's a good possibility we don't have to go
Yes, ma'am.
back. So, thank you,
You're welcome.
Thank you.
and thank you for all your hard work on this,
Thank you.
Ms. Allen.
This is, yeah, a lot.
Thank you all for your support, and I have never been so proud of Pender County Schools and Pender County and the support that we received in that meeting. Just to have that child come up and speak, I mean, that is the why, I think, for everybody in this room. And I think that really helped even solidify a relationship with our commissioners to know how hard our people work and how much it changes a kid's life. So, so thank you to all of you all for all your support with that as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
All right, item 3.1. Angels of Care Nursing Contract.
Morning, Board. I'm here on behalf of Dr. Taylor, who's not here. So you have, three contracts, Angels of Care, RO Health, contract, those are both nursing contracts. These are continuing contracts for our students that have these needs. And then the third contract, the 3.3, is Little Town Learning, which also is a continuing contract for, the developmental delay for preschool. So we contract with them because they're a DD center. So those are continuing, nothing new.
I was reading under the fiscal implications, $104,504 per contract. Is this only one contract or is this multiple contracts?
Multiple students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, multiple students.
Okay,
And we always estimate high, just to cover, because we don't know what students are coming into the district too.
right.
That we may need to contract a nurse, so we try to go ahead and prepare for that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Brandon, we need to vote on each one of these separately, don't we?
You could certainly do them as a group. You
Well,
could
that's
say,
fine too.
if you want, but you could also do them individually, because they're each their own individual item, but it would depend on the motion maker.
I say let's do them together, if y'all are okay
Yeah,
with
I mean,
that.
they were presented as a group, so it's not, it wouldn't be.
3.1, 3.2, and 3.3. All right. All right, so 3.1, is everybody okay with voting together?
Well, we're not voting
Vote on
today,
these. Don't have the,
but when it comes up,
that's right, we have to do that at the board meeting, you're right. My mind slipped on that one. In that case, then, for space, could we put it as one item on the board, the real board meeting agenda? Okay.
I'll make a note and make sure.
All right.
Show it.
3.4, the calendar, board meeting calendar.
Good morning, Board. I am also here on behalf of Dr. Taylor this morning. And so the board calendar for the upcoming 26-27 school year remains similar to the past several years. Second Tuesday of every month for our regular meeting. The CAL meeting will be 2 weeks before the board meeting unless otherwise noted here. We'll continue to do closed session at 5 p.m., regular board meeting at 6 p.m., and all of our CAL meetings will start at 9:30. If you have any questions, let me know.
Good with them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, section 4, 4.1 and 4.2, coastal horizons for an MOA for PILA and federal programs.
I'm also here on behalf of Dr. Taylor. It takes three of us to do.
Y'all are faster than he is.
yeah, because
Yeah, so the first item on the agenda is our,
I don't,
just the renewing the MOU for our day treatment program with Coastal Horizons and PILA. Do y'all have any questions about that I need to address? It's our standard. They provide therapeutic services. We couldn't keep the building open without them, so there.
amen.
And then next is just a few things for our federal programs consolidated application. The one I really need to draw your attention to is the statement of assurance that we don't have any board policies that restrict prayer in schools, because if we do, we can't have our federal money. So we just need to note that we don't have any policies. That's the big thing, because we've got to have a date and everything on that. And then I'll just talk to you a few minutes about our federal budgets this year. Like Ms. Nowlin said, the increase in costs have really impacted our federal budgets in the same way they impacted our local. In Title I, we took an 8% reduction this year from the federal government, and we've got basically a 20% increase in costs because of salaries and benefits. So our federal budget is tight. We worked diligently to cut it other places besides at the school level. I'm happy to say that no services were cut out of school level budgets. We just allocated all those tutor positions and everything yesterday to make sure our kids have services, and that all the teachers who are federally paid are still in classrooms. So we worked hard for that. That's Title I. We have our set-asides that we have to do for parent engagement. Private school consultation, we have a private school in Duplin County that serves a couple of our Pender students that we have to provide them services. They pay a tutor, but then they have to provide us all the documentation for effectiveness so that we can, we know it's working. We have our set-asides for McKinney-Vento. We still pay our translator partially out of Title I and a parent engagement person out of Title I. We have Title I Part C, which is migrant. We took a 30% reduction in that this year, but no reduction in the services that we have to provide. So,
Can you repeat that so I understand what you're saying?
yeah, we took a 30% reduction in our migrant budget. We usually get about $100,000. We got $68,000 this year.
And that goes to,
Services for our migrant children, our migrant education services, tutors, school supplies, any kind of things that their families need and that they need. We pay, we're obligated to pay a migrant recruiter out of that, and so we pick up some salary out of that also.
So how are we gonna make, how are you gonna make cuts to it?
We had some carryover this year, so we're not gonna have to cut this year.
Good job.
Yeah, we try and plan for the rainy day, just like Ms. Nowlin does.
Right.
We try and plan for that. We know that cuts are coming, and so we're looking already to how we're gonna fill the gaps next year, and we haven't even started this year yet.
can I ask a quick question? Do we
Yeah.
know, how many migrant students do we have?
We have around 50 at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, that's held steady for the last several years. Our Title II budget, which we use to increase teacher retention, has stayed pretty static this year, so we're happy about that. Title III, which is language acquisition, also stayed pretty level. And Title IV, which is academic enrichment, student support, digital learning, also stayed pretty even. So we're good in those. But again, we have a little bit of carryover left from last year just to make sure we can cover salaries and benefits. And again, we're trimming at the district level to make sure none of this impacts our kids. Because that's, like Lisa said, why we're here.
Very good.
Y'all have any other questions? Anything I can do for you? All right.
It's all good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't think we have anything under section 5 unless, Dr. Breedlove, do you have anything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Section 6, operations. Dr. Grimm has all kinds of things on here.
Yeah, he does.
That's a good
Yes, sir,
thing.
I do. Good morning, board.
Good morning.
Sir. Good morning. So, yeah, excited to be here today. This is the time of year where my team can actually get into the schools and do a lot of work. So they're very busy doing projects this summer. And some of those projects are ones that you approved this past year, but we had to wait until the schools were empty before we could get in and do those projects. And so just to give you an example, the chiller at Topsail-Annandale will be finished this week. And then the controls will be in at CF Pope and Topsail-Annandale in the next 2 weeks. So those are big ticket items, and we're excited to get those done. And I think it's just going to make for a nicer environment for the school. So I'm going to be dealing with 6.1 through 6.6. Those are items that we need to act on here at the board meeting today if we can. And then 6.7 through 6.12 will be upcoming items at the next board meeting. And when I say that, 6.1 through 6.6, 6.1 through 6.5 are dealing with J.H. Lee items, and we want to keep that moving. We also want to keep our contractors getting paid. So those are some of the things that we'll be bringing up. So let's get started with 6.1. Ben is here. Ben brought this up last time. We started talking about the number of plants that are at the school, the foliage at the school. Just concerned that, hey, are there too many plants here? It's hard for schools to sometimes manage a lot of that. And I've been a school principal for a long time, and I know designers like to put in lots of plants, but we have to be able to manage those after the school is built. So we've had many meetings on this, and then just some concerns with having enough irrigation throughout the school because there's a lot of grass. So I've asked Ben to kind of come in and talk about what our thoughts are on that. All right, Ben?
Morning, Board. Dr. Breedlove, how are you? Yeah, so as Dr. Grimm was saying, really taking a step back, this is kind of phase 2 to our conversation concerning landscaping, sod, and irrigation. The first phase started about a year ago, and to start off with the job, we didn't have any irrigation on the school at all, but we did have sod on the ball fields. We ended up having to install a well for our office trailers because of how long it took to get water out from 210. And that's kind of where our conversation started with, you know, the ball fields, it would be ideal to have irrigation on them. And so we worked together to figure out, and we brought this to you all about a year ago on how to use that well to get irrigation on the fields. And that's kind of behind us. We've got that in place, feel good about it. And we've been working recently, really honing in, now that you can see the site taking shape, on the landscaping itself. Now, there are a lot of plants. It's a big site, and a lot of these plants are required either for wetland or just from the city, you know, or basically local ordinances and all that stuff. So what we were trying to do was really look at what could possibly be removed here in the interest of maintenance, because we all know how difficult it is to keep up, you know, with numerous sites, and especially when you're dealing with one this large and you're dealing with mulch beds, keeping everything alive without irrigation, and so on. So we've been working together with operations, Dr. Grimm, Mr. Nelson, Dr. Breedlove on that, and it really kind of expounded into some lessons learned. I think Surf City's one of them, where you have a pretty new campus and you've got lawn areas all around them, and they're just trampled from all the traffic that happens on them. So we started looking at what can we do possibly to get ahead of that. And so that's one of these proposals that Mr. Murphy's going to be going over, you know, numerous, and is not going to spend as much detail on this one because this is something we've been working on, and we want to make sure we have buy-in from the board on what we're proposing here. So this map kind of shows, and again, I think you all are probably familiar enough, but this is 210 here, right? You've got the ball fields over here, which do have irrigation and sod. And so what we're looking at doing is all of these areas around the school, this is yellow here, this is, I think we call it zone 1, and this is where the playgrounds are here. Okay, so you got the middle school side up here, you got elementary down here, and these are all the fenced-in kind of playground areas. And then up front, this is what we're calling zone 2, this is the front of the school, and then you got all this as well. So pretty much all of this is grass as it stands, and there are bed areas in these kind of courtyards and along the front curb. And what kind of we're talking about is how do we keep all this grass alive with all the foot traffic on it? As it stands, we could spend nothing, and we have basically seeding these lawns in, which we'd start as soon as the season breaks, you know, in April. And by the time all the students get in, we feel confident we'd have a good stand of grass. But what happens from there, I think we all know, with over 2,300 students, is what that's likely going to look like in short order. So what we have in our proposal is adding, so our current well is here where the office trailers sit, around it here, and we have irrigation piping coming over to provide water to these fields. What we're proposing is adding a second irrigation well in this area. We would actually tie all the irrigation piping together so that you would have some redundancy. You would actually be able to water both either together or separately, depending on how much you need. But this well being closer to the fields obviously would be the primary server for this. And then we take this well and pipe it to all these lawn areas. And that's kind of in short what we've got. So we'd be adding both sod instead of seeding. We'd be adding sod and irrigation piping around all these areas that I went over. And it is a little deceiving on how much area this is. It's actually totals right about the same as both of these ball fields. So we're doubling the sod and irrigation. I don't know if you all have had time to study the proposal. There's kind of a lot to it. The first part of it is the actual crediting of plants we determined we could do without, okay? And so we've got about a $71,000 credit in those plants. But then we're turning around and we're adding the sod, the irrigation, and also a no-mow mixed seeding in this jurisdictional ditch that runs the whole site to help ease the maintenance. I mean, obviously, we're gonna have to get down in there as time goes on and kind of keep this cleaned up. But getting that no-mow seeding established will help choke out other weeds from growing, and it'll only get so tall. So ideally, you know, there would be a lot less maintenance associated with it. And so this is about a $276,000 change, which is why we're bringing it to you, kind of sharing our ideas, what we came up with. It's not something, again, we have to do. We could just take the credit of $70,000 and move on with that. But the concern is, you know, what is our brand new school going to look like? And Dr. Grimm wanted me to show this image that we always show as our cover here. Picture, Craig. Right, we're always showing these images of kind of what we're after. You know, do we actually want it, the appearance of that to be able to, you know, withstand time? And I think the concern is on other campuses that that's not what's happened. So that's for your consideration.
And I am going to say that I've been out to Surf City prior to the new sod being put in and after the new sod has been put in. I think that this is going to be, you can pay me now or you can pay me later. I'd rather go ahead and do it right now before it gets to a point where we've got we're sending home muddy kids like we were at Surf City. Surf City was a little bit of a mess, and I'm very appreciative to operations and the PTA out there, who I think you guys worked very well together in making sure that the sod was put in at Surf City. I haven't been out there in the past couple of months. How is it looking, Dr. Graham, out there?
Yeah, in the front of the school looks good, and I've been in the courtyard, but I haven't walked around some of the other places for a while.
Okay.
But, yeah, from what I hear, it's definitely better than it was a year or two.
Well, now that it's on my mind, I might have to make a trip out to Surf City this week. I'll call Ms. Hall and make sure. But, yeah, I saw what happened at Surf City, and I certainly do not want that. Just my own opinion, I don't want it happening here. So, there's my 2 cents.
I'll say for my 2 cents, I'm definitely in favor of reduction of plants, because there's nothing that
Yes.
looks worse if you go out there and it's been planted in the beginning and it just looks bad because nobody took care of it.
Right.
Other than what we're required by
Right.
zoning or planning to do.
Yeah, we tried hard to get rid of more than we, but unfortunately, there's only so much you can cut out. Any more questions on that? There was one other image that Dr. Grimm asked that we share. So I think we'd mentioned in, I think it was June, at the meeting, we initially had planned for a monumental sign along 210 that had, you know, the digital sign messaging, and we all felt, which you all ended up agreeing, that, you know, that's kind of technology of the past. So we have changed the scheme of the sign up, and this is where we landed, and just wanted to share that as well.
And it will have lighting on it.
There will be lighting shining up on it,
Yes,
correct?
okay.
Correct.
I think that looks clean. I like it.
Timeless.
Yes. and it also keeps with the existing schools that we have too. So I think that's perfect.
Now that we're talking about signs, that brings up a question. Are there gonna be like wayfinding signs outside of the school, like office this way, that sort of thing?
Yes, and that is something that we're working on. We were actually talking about it on site last week with Dr. Grimm. We're kind of working on picking the sign type right now, but I think the plan is to get, I think a couple of the principals out and folks that would actually be participating in the traffic management when we're running the school to figure out what, the locations of all the signs and the list of what all we should have is still out, a work in progress.
Okay.
But to answer your question, Ms. Hanson, yes.
Okay, perfect.
I sent out the latest aerials yesterday. I don't know if you all have had a chance to look at. Any questions on those? We're reaching a point where the aerials are really kind of going to be boring to look at, unfortunately, other than the road widening, and they keep trying to capture the progress of the sewer, but, it's kind of it's not doing it for me. But, you can at least see how ridiculously long, this sewer project is. It's really something. But, all right. I think that's all I had, unless you have any other questions. I appreciate your time. I hope you have a good Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and I'm going to invite Joe Murphy up from MVP to give his presentation on the June items and change orders and everything. So, Joe?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody today?
Fantastic.
If you can go straight to the change order section, the PCOs. Let's cover this real quick. I want to applaud the school system's decision to move forward with the irrigation and the sod that we were just speaking about. That's PCO 127. Some years ago, a landscape architect taught me that in North Carolina, we are on the southern end of the warm of the cool grasses, and we're on the northern end of the warm grasses. So the way he said it to me, he said there are only about 5 grasses that naturally grow well in North Carolina, and you don't want any of them in your lawn. So in order to keep nice grass growing, you got to water it. And all too often, we just don't do that, and it's so much better if we do. So I applaud that. We have about 6 PCOs that are up for approval. 4 of them are relatively minor in scope, and all of them are covered by the allowances. The 2 that are of most importance today is one, of course, the landscaping and irrigation revisions, which is approximately $276,000. And will be funded by the owner's contingency, so that does not add anything to the GMP in the way of additional cost. And the other one is number 128, which is the temporary HVAC system. And this was planned for within the construction budget. I believe they had close to $500,000 in there allocated for this. And this was in understanding what time of the year the finishes and everything would be starting up, and being able to do those ahead of time to the completion of the building HVAC system. So this temporary HVAC is done to move the project along and have better installation conditions for those materials. So that is $264,000, and it's covered by the allowance that was included for that in the project. Okay. So that's the totality of the change orders. I can talk about any of them that you would like to, if you have any questions in particular.
Would the temporary AC work, is it the whole building?
I believe it's is it the whole building?
It is, yeah, we have
Yeah.
wings, we have Yeah.
units for each classroom wing.
Right.
And we're basically doing what we can to move air through the building. But basically, this is to avoid using the permanent
Right.
systems in the building and the distribution for air, so all the ductwork and all that. The site and building is not in a state that you can avoid basically getting dirt in the systems, right? And so we want to avoid using those and commissioning those until we have all the sidewalks in. And what we have to, put casework in the building. We had our kitchen equipment delivered this week. We have sheetrock and paint and ceiling systems, and we have to keep the humidity out of the building or we'll have big problems. And so we think we're gonna come in about half the budget, but we're gonna be using it for the better part of 6 months.
Right.
I mean, I can see like furniture coming in, electronics coming in, that has to be cost controlled.
Right.
I was
Right.
just curious.
And all those materials have to be installed under fairly ideal conditions. You just can't do that without a temporary system. Any other questions on the change orders? I can go into any other items that we have on our dashboard, but of course, we'll be going over all of that at the next board meeting. But we do recommend the approval of these 6 change orders today. And if there's nothing else, unless there's something else you want me to go over.
No, and I'm gonna bring the change orders up for approval.
Okay, all right.
Okay, well, I did have one question.
Okay.
Now, if we wait till our monthly meeting, is this gonna adversely affect you if we wait to vote on this? Because typically, we don't vote on,
The only thing
we
that'll
don't have
adversely
action.
affect me is
yes.
the only thing that'll adversely affect the project is if you don't vote on the application for payment or MBP's invoice. I don't know that it would adversely affect the project to wait on voting on these PCOs. Do we know that any of these are critical at this moment?
The most important one is the temporary mechanical, the
Yeah.
landscaping irrigation can wait, and I'm not sure what the other ones are.
They're fairly minor, they're corrective actions and just additional scopes that came up.
Those can wait. And again, the overall value of the temp HVAC, we can get started using it. Clearly, it's gonna take
Right.
6 months to get all the way through that. So
Right.
as long as we can continue forward, and if for some reason it's decided at the board
Right.
meeting, hey, let's put the brakes on this, we can do that.
So I don't think it'll be detrimental at all.
I mean, we can do it, it's just we normally don't at
Yeah.
a committee.
Typically in committee of the whole, we don't make
Procedurally.
action. But, another reason is we're missing 2 of our board members
That's fine.
today. And if there was any of this that we could push off for 8 days,
We c-
but
yeah.
we want to accommodate you guys also. And exactly, we don't want to hold up this project at all.
We're aware of that.
But I just, like I said, I just wanted to see if, are you sure?
And if anything else
Okay,
comes
thank
up
you.
that needs to be reviewed, it can just be added to this list. This list can stay like it is on the
Well,
dashboard.
I doubt there'll be any reviews, we just,
Yeah.
I mean, we just don't want to put you on a bond,
Right.
because we can do it right now if you want it, but.
Yeah, that's
Dr.
what I
Grimby, you
meant.
won't, you gotta,
Well, it's up to you how you want.
I mean, that applies to anything on here right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any of the other items you've got too. Are you in a hurry on any of them?
No, I just wanna get our contractors paid, I think that would be
Yeah.
important. But if we wanna wait on that, we can.
Well, we go ahead and do it then.
I'll go along with whatever you want to do.
I mean, either, I don't hold
Like
their
I
money
said,
up.
I don't want to hold anybody's money up either, and if we want to go ahead and get the change order apps done and any of the pay apps, if you want to do that, I guess we could do it. It's just, I've seen us kind of backsliding a little bit and putting action items on the committee of the whole agenda, and I want to try to get away from that as much as we can, because committee of the whole is supposed to be for information only. But When we've got situations like this, obviously, and I'm just speaking for myself, I don't mind going ahead and approving something like when it's involving money changing hands for services. I don't have a problem with that. I like to see people get paid. But that was just my opinion, so.
Secondary consideration that makes July a little different from most of your other months is the fact that you did not have your regular meeting that you would have had. So
Agreed.
I think you could take that into consideration. Whatever decision you guys make is the right decision. I think it's, if you're in search of an explanation, that's a potential explanation you could provide.
No problem. Let's
Thank
pay
you
him.
for that.
What do you say?
Let's do it.
Want to pay him?
Why don't we, how about if we, when we get to the end of the list, if we do a vote for everything, as long as nobody has a problem with any of it? You wanna do that? Or we can do them separate, I don't care. I mean,
I say go ahead and,
I do them individually.
I would say let's go ahead and do the, pay apps and the change order. What's your suggestion, Dr. Grimm?
Just for
what
the
about
June
these?
ones, right?
We can do the ones for
Which number?
June. Exactly.
Just the June.
Yes, sir.
All right,
I like that.
Which numbers would that be?
that is,
Number 10,
Yep.
and then for the pay app number 24.
4 and 5?
And then if you wanted to do the change order log, it would be the JH Lee change orders through June 30, 2026. I can get you agenda items too.
Give you the numbers if you need them.
My understanding is that's 6.8, 610, 611. Is that right?
No, sir.
What are
so-
the item numbers?
Yeah, so, sir, when we get to, 6.7 through 6.12, all those are just items for next month.
Yeah, those are July.
Those are July things that we can vote on.
611 and 612 are the pay applications.
Those are pay apps for the work they did through the month of July.
Got it. Okay,
So we always have a one
6.4
behind.
and 6.5?
Yeah, those are June, pay apps.
What about 6.3?
June.
All right, so 6.3, 6.4, and 6.5?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve 6.3, 6.4, and 6.5.
all right, Ms. Burns has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second that motion.
Ms. Hanson has seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
6.6.
What's that?
What's, present 6.6?
I was gonna present 6.6, which is the request for the annual CPI adjustment for HES. We've talked about that a few times as well, but if you wanna wait till a board meeting, we can do that. It's up to you.
Present it, but we don't want to vote on it, right?
You can present it, but it can't be voted on today.
Okay, that's fine. We'll put that down for the August meeting. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And then, starting at 6.7, we've invited ITRI to come to our next meeting and present to the board. We're going to be, we want to utilize ITRI to help us with the redistricting when we open up J.H. Lee. And in talking with them, they're going to come, and remember, they were here a few months ago and shared with you some growth projections here in our district. They'll do a little review on that when they come to the meeting. And then they want to discuss, they have a template for this, the community engagement plan, as to how we're going to share out and timelines for sharing out with different groups here in our school community about redistricting. And they're coming here to get your input on this, because you know PCS in our community better than anyone else. So they're looking for that input, and they'll come with a proposed plan, and then they'll make those adjustments based on your feedback at that meeting, and that will help launch us into the next few months. And we really do need to get started now, because by January we've got to begin working all of that behind the scenes, like with the transportation department. And so that's what's going to happen when they come here. And I just think that expertise of ITRI in helping lead us through this process is just going to make us, or help us do a better job.
Can I ask a question? When do we anticipate community meetings happening? And,
Good
okay, that's my
question.
first question. Let's just answer that.
Good question.
So that'll be part of the discussion with the community engagement plan. So they'll talk with you about that when they come here. I don't have that answer today, but we'll work all that out together as a team.
And this, you may have answered my next question, but what would be the goal to have our final plan in place?
I would ask that we set a goal of the January board meeting. I think that would give the needed time for our transportation department to begin working on the new boundary lines, the routes, all of that, because that will take time to do. And it will give our families plenty of time to prepare for the following year as well.
So a final plan presented and voted on by
That would be the goal.
December or
Yes, ma'am.
January. Mhm.
If everybody at the board agrees, that would be a great beginning with the end in mind, and we work back and plan out the entire semester of community forums, getting the options to the board to look at, and then taking those on to the community and having feedback. So
Okay.
it's, they said that they, when we asked, I said, what's the fastest you've ever done it? They said 3 months, and we don't recommend that. So we talked about this sort of 5-month plan. They said, that's great, that's perfect. So,
Yep, it sounds like they'll be reporting back to you several times throughout the process and getting your feedback as they gather information,
And then
so.
we'll be presented a couple plans to show to the public. Is that what will happen? Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, so that'll be one presentation. I'm just going to go through these. If you have a question, these are just things that we typically often do. But Mr. Baston's going to come and talk about the new generator over at CF Pope and share about why that's important, because that's a shelter here in Pender County Schools. MVP, just as they did a few minutes ago, will do the presentation for the July work that's been done, and we'll be also then voting on change orders. So any change orders that took place in July, 6.10. 6.11 will be the MVP Pay App number 11 through July 31st. And then finally, 6.12 will be the Bordeaux K-8 Pay App number 25. So that's what will happen at the next meeting with operations so far.
All right.
Any questions?
No, I just want to say I was at Pender High yesterday, and those projects look like they're moving along well.
Yes, they sure are.
Yes.
Yeah, we're very excited about what's going on out there.
And the folks that are working on I'll say specifically to the bathrooms, they're very professional, and I appreciate their showing me around.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're at the end of the list. Dr. Breedlove, do you have anything you want to tell us before we go into closed? Anything the schools have going on or
no,
anything of
just,
that nature?
many of our schools are, I know, like at Topsail High School, they've got incoming freshmen this week, and been doing this they'll do it for 3 days, bring them in and kind of orient them to the school. And so schools are, of course, Pender Lee's up and running. Early college will be starting here in a couple of weeks. So we're moving on with our summer, and, it's closing out very quickly. Thank you.
All right. Brandon, do you have a motion we can use for closed session?
Ooh, if I can get the microphone on, thank you. Board, the proposed motion is as follows. I move that the board enter into closed session, subject to the advice from the attorney pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318A1 and A6 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel information under General Statute 115C319 and to consider matters related to personnel matters. The board will also enter into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 and to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege and to consider confidential student matters. As provided in North Carolina General Statute 143-318A1 and the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, 20 U.S.C. 123G, and North Carolina General Statute 115C402.
All right, would somebody like to make that motion?
Make the motion to go into closed session.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And that is unsurprisingly everybody, since one made the motion and one made the second, so. All right, we're in closed session. Thank you. Can we have a motion to come out of closed session?
I make the motion to come out of closed session.
Ms. Burns makes the motion.
I second.
Ms. Hanson seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So we are back in open session. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
And I think we have an automatic
I
second.
second that.
Everybody is in
motion.
favor. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.